Let's do the numerology for July 2nd, 2024. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 17. And if you add the 1 and the 7 together, you get the number 8. Now, sometimes I like to separate the numbers, and today I just want to throw this one in a little quick. The number 1 is the number of individuality. It's also the number of humility. The number 7 is the number of planning and strategies and structures. 1 is a feeling, personal, introspective number. 7 is a mental, awake number that wants to understand the patterns and the systems and the differences in things in order to make rational cognitive sense out of things. So today, we need to stand up as our individualistic self, but we need to do it in a really humble, authentic way. We need to start to create some patterns in our life, some systems, some strategies that will really work. But often when you do that, so let's say you're standing up for yourself and you're being an individual and you're trying to do it very humbly and authentically, but you're putting in some boundaries. You're saying, this is the structure that will work for me. This is what I want. More often than not, what happens is people push back and they're like, kind of like, how dare you have a boundary with me? I usually get what I want from you. And so even when you try to do it humbly, when you start to establish boundaries, you can get a lot of grief from others. And so the number 8 is the number of grief, loss, and sadness. So just be aware that the reason people collapse and buckle and give up and just go, yeah, whatever you want, is because they're afraid of standing up for themselves, and they're afraid of establishing a boundary because they know what's going to happen. They're not idiots. They know as they push back and say, no, I'm not going to believe that. That's not true. That's not what I want. That's not a moral fiber or a world in which I want to live. I'm not going to do things, create things, make choices that make life worse for myself and others. Then people are going to get upset. They're going to lash out and get upset. So just be aware, because with the number 8, it reminds us also of those that love us and that might be on the other side, and that they're always there to help us through the trials and tribulations of this life. If we really feel and pay attention to subtle energies, we can feel and hear those whispering to us from the other side and supporting us as we move through our karmic journey in this life. I think sometimes people fear to open to this magical realm because they fear feeling the loss over and over again. This just means that they have not embraced the grief that they feel. Grief is just another color in the multidimensional palette of paints that our emotional makeup needs to learn to embrace. Can you imagine life without the color red or the color mauve or any color? Emotions are the paints that we use to create depth, light, and perspective in this life. The more we learn to embrace all those emotions and feelings, the more we have to work with. Today, notice if you fear thinking of those you love that have passed, then embrace the loss, that they will embrace the loss, and that will open you to be able to feel past the grief and into remembering the great gifts instead. We miss people because they have deeply touched us in our lives. We miss their familiarity and their sense of continuity and stability that they offered with their presence. But if we embrace the loss of them, we will recognize that they are inside of us, and we realize that now we have become what they were to us with others. And that can make us realize that we have taken the best in them and are now paying that energy forward in our own unique ways. Thanks, everyone.